Yeah. So I wanted to speak a little bit about what the world environment was, at least in the U.S. When I joined the Hare Krishna movement, most of us youth, I was experiencing how to enjoy and how to find God. At that time, uh, the United States had become extremely economically stable right after the World War II. I was born in 1950, so in the 60s, our parents were, for most standards, well off and had very many material facilities and house, a car, a summer house, all facility. But the many of the children of those uh, parents, we rejected the establishment. Establishment meaning the status quo, the way people were living, and what their value systems were. As a matter of fact, we would not trust anybody over the age of 30 because we thought that they were all uh, basically, false. They were trying to enjoy through their senses. Well, they're trying to enjoy materially. So we were trying to give up the material and take on, first of all, spiritual enlightenment through drugs. And there was one person, Timothy Leary, who was the proponent of LSD, which was a psychedelic drug, and he was basically propounding that one could see God through LSD. And I also, coming up in this generation, became very much involved, and I could say maybe even addicted to taking intoxication, different psychedelic drugs and marijuana. And I thought it was very spiritual. So I even used my uh, talents of first of all, I lived in New York City for 1 year. So I developed friendships with certain young people who were drug dealers. And my parents were separated, and so I lived in New York City with my mother, and then I would go into Rockland County, which was an hour away, which was a very well-to-do community of uh, people with their families in a special community. And so I would, every weekend I would go in to New York City and buy large quantities of drugs and distribute them to to my friends and to the youth. Little did I know that at one point, after I'd been doing this for 2 or 3 years, I woke up at 6 in the morning to find police cars in my our driveway, and they had a warrant for my arrest because I had sold to a narcotics agent. Well, spending time in jail, I had my father got me a very good lawyer, so I only had to spend 60 days in the county jail. But during that time, I started going internal and studying different types of yoga. And I came to the realization that actually drugs were not the way. But still, I had some attachments to them, and I was not fully committed to a full spiritual life. I went on to 2 years of college, and on my second year of college, my younger brother had invited me to come to the New York Temple. He had just joined at a peace rally in Washington, D.C. in 1971, in May of 1971. And I had been practicing self-realization fellowship, which was Paramahansa Yogananda meditation, and trying to be a vegetarian and chanting different mantras like that. But I really wasn't, I could easily say I hadn't fully accomplished self-realization, and I wasn't completely satisfied with that. So when I moved to the temple, I immediately took up the process of chanting Hare Krishna. The Hare Krishna mantra, I can practically say, saved me from so much trouble in my life, because that mantra delivered me from material consciousness to a spiritual way of life. And I became very peaceful, and I loved the experience of temple life. After 2 weeks, my parents asked me to come home. I stayed home for 1 week, and then I packed my bags and went right back to the temple, and I never left, so to speak. So that was 43 years ago, and I have so much good times in my life from this Krishna conscious movement.